For the Unit 1 test FRQ part, for part A, it is asking us to derive an equation for the vertical y of this for the vertical coordinate y of the sphere as a function of x, v0, and physical constants as appropriate. So in the work I did here, we were given that y equals x squared, so I put y equals x squared, and since it was a projectile motion problem, I put acceleration is equal to gravity. And as you can see here, I've only derived an equation for the x, for the horizontal coordinate, and I derived it incorrectly, which is why this answer is wrong. So I got 0 points because I didn't derive both an x and y coordinate, because you need to derive for horizontal and vertical motions. And then the second point I didn't get was because I didn't combine the two equations in terms of y to get the answer, the final equation as the answer. So in order to solve, so I got 0 points for this. But in order to solve this, you use the second equation on the formula sheet, and I'm going to derive for x first. I'm going to derive an equation for both x and y, because in this problem, the bridge between the two equations, in order to combine them, is t. So you're going to derive for t in both sides. So for the x is x equal x0 plus bx0 t plus 1/2 axt squared. And you can bring the x0 to the other side for delta x, and then in the problem it said delta x, the variable for it is just x, so I'll just put x equal to vx0t, because since I'm deriving the horizontal motion, there is no acceleration in the horizontal, so a is equal to 0, which cancels out this part of the equation, and you just solve for t, so t is equal to x divided by vx0. And now for the y, I'm just going to bring the y0 to the other side, so y is equal to vy0t plus 1/2 ayt squared. And to simplify it, y would just equal, since the problem said the object is only launched horizontally, that means there's no initial vertical velocity, which y is equal to 0, so this part of the equation is cancelled out, and so it just leaves 1/2 ay, and we know ay is just gravity, so 1/2 g t squared. And since we found here t is equal to v divided by vx0, so you just plug that into this, so the answer would be y is equal to 1/2 times gravity times x squared over vx0 squared, and this will be the answer to the first equation, because I derived an equation for both x here and y, and I combined them to get the answer for for part B, it is asking us to design an experimental procedure that the students could use to test the claim that y is proportional to x squared, and you also need to put what needs to be measured and the symbol. You use any symbol and then what is used to measure it, and this is the criteria, and this is mine. And then for here it says 1 point is earned for listing relevant appropriate equipment that matches the measured quantities. So I listed here a meter stick in order to measure the vertical, and it's also could be used to measure the horizontal. And then the carbon paper was used to find the distance, because where the ball hits the carbon paper, that's where it lands, because after it lands it will bounce, so the initial would just be where the carbon paper imprint is. So I got 1 point for right here. And 1 point is earned for a plausible / practical way to directly or indirectly determine whether a claim is true using the equipment. So basically I said that I'm going to use a meter stick to find the height, find the height and the horizontal displacement, as you see here, horizontal displacement and the different heights, and then I'm going to use it to solve for y is equal to x squared, which is basically, the claim was to claim that y is proportional to x squared, so if it's proportional or not. So if it is proportional, why would the horizontal would be equal to the horizontal squared of horizontal would equal to the vertical. So I got 1 point for right here. And 1 point is earned for measuring the x, the horizontal displacement of the, and I put here, you measure it, the x, so this is another point. And then another point is for measuring y, and then I said use the meter stick to measure the height of the sphere, so this would be the y, technically the y. So this would be another point. And the last point is earned for attempting to reduce the uncertainty using at least 3 different launch heights, or at least 2 experimental trials. So I did say repeat this step at different heights, which means that I try to reduce the uncertainties. So this would be 1 point. So for this problem I got 5 points because I met all the criteria. For CII, for CII, I need to create a plot with the appropriate quantities to determine whether the claim is true, clearly scale and label all the axes including units as appropriate. So this was the data we were given, the horizontal and vertical. So you could graph a y equal x squared graph, but you could also just graph a y equal x if you explain it correctly. I graphed a y equal x, as you see here, and it says for the x, I used a whole graph, as you see here, and I labeled the y-axis and the x-axis. So, and I plotted the points correctly. Here, these are where the points I plotted, and these are the correct positions. It matches up. So I got both points because I earned a point for using the correct scale that uses more than half the grid, and for correctly labeling the axes including units as appropriate. And I earned another point for correctly plotting the data calculated from the, or plotting the data or quantities calculated from the data. So I got 2 points for this. And then for the final question, part CII, is asking us if the graph supports the claim that y is proportional to x squared, and I put that it is supporting the claim, and I said that it was because the displacement is less than x, which this is incorrectly explaining why y is equal to x squared. So I didn't get a point for this problem, so I got 0 points right here. And in order to do this, in order to explain correctly, the answer is yes, but you need to explain that the graph doesn't make a parabola, because if y is equal to x squared, the answer would be a parabola. Or if you graph the y equals x squared, it would make a linear graph, because if y is equal to x squared, the line would be a linear. And so that is why I got 0 points for this problem. So yeah, I added it up. I think I got um 7 out of 10 on this quiz under FRQ.